Action!
Hello, my name is Skylar Brown. This is my audience for the evening. And today my speech will be about universal healthcare. Now to you, healthcare may seem like a ordinary concept, something that you receive through an employer or have had passed down to you through your family. However, to many other Americans across the country, it is something that can be an unachievable fantasy. I think that it is very difficult to see the benefits of universal healthcare if it is something that you've had easy access to your entire life. I know that through my personal lifetime, I've been lucky enough to have parents that have received it through their employers. This means that once a year, I've been able to go to the doctors to have checkups. I've been able to receive antibiotics, prescriptions, or medicines through pharmacies. I've been able to go to the dentist every 6 months to get my teeth cleaned, and in real emergencies, I can be rushed to the emergency room without any worry about financial costs. This is something that is a luxury to lots of Americans. It's something that a lot of Americans will never have access to. The three influential elements that are vital to understanding my persuasive speech are in understanding the personal, economic, and societal benefits that universal healthcare will have on America. Now to begin, universal healthcare will positively impact people through personal or individual aspects by removing the detrimental costs of healthcare. Now, the United States is ranked 29th out of 196 in the world for preventable mortality rates. This means that out of all the countries, the United States is ranked quite poorly on preventable mortality. Now, this is pretty rare considering that the United States is a fairly wealthy country, and through the other wealthy countries across the world, this is quite unique. They're not seen this high up on the list of the preventable mortality rates. This can be caused because the United States does not offer universal health care, whereas our other wealthy counterparts do. Our neighboring countries such as Canada, or maybe not so neighboring Australia, or even China, they offer universal health care and they have these less preventable mortality rates. According to Britannica, there was a study done by Harvard which found that 45,000 deaths per year can be directly linked to lack of health care. And in a separate study, they found that 13,000 deaths a year between the ages of 55 and 64 were also caused to inadequate healthcare access. Whenever Americans don't have access to healthcare, they're left to fend for themselves, which can lead to detrimental outcomes such as those ones. And according to the World Health Organization, universal healthcare is in place, or could be put into place, to provide healthcare when and where people need it. Moving on, universal healthcare will also help our economy in many ways other than one. One of the most notable reasons would be it would create a healthier workforce. Let's say that all of our workforce has access to healthcare. It would create our healthier workers, it would create less sick time being used negatively, and in turn it would create a healthier workforce. A study done by the University of Colorado actually found that employers that had access to healthcare were 4.7 times less likely to miss work than their coworkers who did not have access to healthcare. Universal healthcare can also help the economy by providing more money to businesses because they will not have to worry about having these healthcare packages or healthcare benefits for their employees. This means that there'll be more money circulating around their business. On the flip side, this would also mean that there'll be more money going in towards the employees' checks or pay periods because they will not have to be paying for these health benefits or health packages. It would also be better for smaller businesses, entrepreneurs, or less known businesses that don't have this much money because they would not have to pay for their employees' health benefits. This would create a more successful environment for these smaller businesses. And also, it would help people looking for jobs because they could find jobs that match their needs and what they want more than matching, let's say, a healthcare package that is good for them or their families. Now, all of these are really good, and in turn, universal healthcare could directly positively impact our economy. Lastly, universal healthcare will positively impact our society by creating a healthier and more successful citizens. Affording healthcare and affording deductibles from healthcare is one of the most difficult things for Americans that they face. It is a struggle to be able to pay for your deductibles or your health care whenever you don't have direct access to it. According to a study done by Becker's Healthcare in 2018, they found that 22% of Americans found it very difficult or nearly impossible to pay for their own health care. They said that trying to find ways to pay for their health care was extremely difficult, and they could not figure out a way to do it. They also found that 64% of Americans chose not to get the health care or get health access or their needs or necessities because they were too scared to be able to afford the deductible for the health care or for health needs or health assistance. This means that we have people in our country who are choosing not to receive help because they know they cannot afford it. In other countries where universal health care is noted and seen there and offered, they do not have this difficulty to choose whether or not to pay for help or to not receive help. And I think in America, it is something that we should be extraordinarily aware of, because there are millions and millions of people who are going without help, without assistance, because they know they cannot pay for it. In our society, it is important that we have these healthy workers and healthy workforce, because as I mentioned earlier, having a workforce is important to our economy. And if healthcare, having universal healthcare, is something that we can offer for our employees or for our workforce, it is something that we can see a direct impact for, and it will positively impact our society. There have been countries such as Australia, which offer federal universal healthcare, and it impacts them 3 different ways. There is the federal impact, which they are the ones that provide the universal healthcare. That is where the healthcare is directly offered and is reinforced on a statewide basis. And then on a countywide basis, you can also see it being reinforced there, where they do fundraising money for it, because with the universal healthcare, it has a possibility of raising your taxes, which if we fundraise money, if states find reasons or ways to make this cheaper for you, then that is something that you can benefit from. As I mentioned before, it can directly impact and create a healthier society. In conclusion, universal healthcare will create a healthier society for America. It will help people personally, and it will create a healthier economy, and overall it will offer healthcare to millions of Americans who have never been able to see it before. Thank you. Here is my audience. Thank you again.